Dr. Olivia Grayson stood at the large telescope in the observatory. Her heart raced as she watched the strange object in the sky. It was metal and shiny, reflecting sunlight in ways no Earth object would. This was it, the moment that would change human history forever. "Are you seeing this?" she asked, stepping back to let her colleague look. Dr. Peter Walsh nodded slowly, his face pale. "It's definitely not one of ours. The movement patterns, the material, this is what we've been waiting for our whole careers." Within hours, the news spread across the globe. A spacecraft from another world was hovering just outside Earth's atmosphere. World leaders gathered in emergency meetings while scientists worked frantically to establish communication. To everyone's surprise, the aliens made the first move. A series of mathematical patterns beamed toward Earth's major radio telescopes, universal language that quickly evolved into more complex exchanges. 3 days after the ship appeared, translators had pieced together enough to understand their message. They wanted to meet. The location they chose was unexpected: a quiet beach in Florida rather than a military base or government facility. As chief cynobiologist at NASA, Olivia found herself selected as part of the small team to make first contact. "Are you nervous?" asked Ambassador William Porter as their helicopter approached the meeting point. Olivia checked her equipment one last time. "Terrified and excited in equal measure. Everything we know about life, about evolution, about our place in the universe, it all changes today." The beach had been cleared for miles in every direction. Armed forces maintained a distant perimeter, but the meeting area itself was peaceful. Just sand, waves, and a small tent with refreshments. Olivia thought it looked more like a wedding setup than humanity's first alien encounter. They waited as the sun rose higher in the sky. At precisely noon, a section of the larger ship separated and descended through the atmosphere. It made no sound as it approached, a sleek oval craft about the size of a small bus. "Here we go," whispered Porter, straightening his tie. The craft landed gently on the sand about 50 feet away. For nearly a minute, nothing happened. Then a seam appeared in its smooth surface, widening into a doorway from which light spilled out. 3 figures emerged. They walked slowly, deliberately, their movements slightly stiff as if the Earth's gravity felt strange to them. Each was about 7 feet tall, thin but not fragile-looking, with silvery blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. They wore close-fitting suits with devices attached at various points. Their faces were the most alien: large, multifaceted eyes that reminded Olivia of insect eyes, but with a depth and intelligence that was unmistakable. They had no visible nose, just small breathing slits, and their mouths were wider than human mouths. As they approached, Olivia noticed they were squinting even behind protective lenses that covered their eyes. Porter stepped forward. "On behalf of the people of Earth, we welcome you to our world." The tallest alien raised a hand in what seemed like a greeting gesture. Then it touched a device on its wrist, and a soft, almost musical voice emerged. "We are the Xanthari," it said. "We have observed your world for some time and wish to establish formal relations." Olivia couldn't help noticing how the aliens kept glancing upward at the sun, then back at the humans standing comfortably under its rays. "We have many questions," continued the alien. "But first, we are curious. How do you survive exposed to such intense stellar radiation? Our instruments indicate levels that would be harmful to our kind." Olivia looked up at the sunny sky, something she'd done thousands of times without thought. For the first time, she saw it through alien eyes, a blazing star bathing them in radiation that these visitors found dangerous. "That," she said with a smile, "is a very interesting first question." 2 weeks after the beach meeting, the Xanthari had established a temporary embassy in Geneva. The building, once a luxury hotel, now housed 37 alien visitors and hundreds of human staff members. Special lighting had been installed throughout the facility, filtering out wavelengths that were harmful to Xanthari biology. Dr. Olivia Grayson had been assigned as the lead scientific liaison. Today, she was giving Kaz Fall, the Xanthari chief scientist, a tour of the embassy grounds. Your adaptation to solar radiation remains our greatest point of interest, said Kaz Tall as they walked through the garden paths. The alien wore a lightweight environmental suit with a transparent helmet. His multifaceted eyes shifted constantly, taking in every detail of the surroundings. We've lived with our sun for our entire evolutionary history, Olivia explained. Our skin produces melanin for protection, and our bodies have developed ways to repair minor radiation damage. Casfall made a soft clicking sound that Olivia had learned was their equivalent of thoughtful consideration. On our world, we evolved under twin suns that emit primarily red and orange light. The high-energy radiation your sun produces would cause severe cellular breakdown in our tissues within minutes of exposure. They rounded a corner of the path, and Casfall stopped suddenly. In the center of the garden, several embassy staff members had spread blankets on the grass. They were eating lunch and chatting, faces turned up toward the sun. "What are they doing?" asked the alien, his voice registering alarm. "Having lunch outdoors. It's a nice day. But they are deliberately exposing themselves to the radiation. Is this some form of endurance ritual?" Olivia tried not to smile. "No, they're relaxing. Enjoying the warmth. For humans, sitting in the sun feels good." Kazdal's breathing slits pulsed rapidly. "Fascinating. The very thing that would kill my species brings yours pleasure." He gestured toward a woman who had removed her jacket and rolled up her sleeves. "And this one is increasing her exposure area. Most unusual. We call it getting some sun," Olivia said. "Many humans enjoy the feeling of sunlight on their skin. In moderation, it's actually healthy for us. It helps our bodies produce vitamin D." The alien scientist activated a small device on his wrist, scanning the humans in the garden. The readings are extraordinary. Their skin temperature is elevated, yet they show no signs of distress, and certain chemicals in their blood are increasing. "What is this compound?" Olivia looked at the readout. "That's serotonin. It's associated with feelings of well-being and happiness." "You mean the radiation is triggering pleasure responses?" Casfall's voice contained unmistakable disbelief. "In a way, yes. Sunlight affects our mood. Too little of it can cause a condition called seasonal affective disorder, where people become depressed." The alien turned its large eyes toward her. "Your species requires the radiation for optimal psychological function. We're adapted to it," Olivia said with a shrug. "Like any other aspect of our environment." A young man in the group of picnickers removed his shirt entirely and lay back on the blanket, eyes closed in contentment. Kazdal's suit emitted a soft alarm sound. His exposure levels just increased by 42%. "Should we intervene?" "He's fine," Olivia assured him. "He's just sunbathing. Though if he stays like that too long, he might get a sunburn." Sunburn. Radiation damage to the outer skin layers. It turns red and painful. And yet they deliberately risk this. For pleasure. Casfall sounded utterly bewildered. Olivia nodded. "We have a complicated relationship with our sun. We need it. We enjoy it. But yes, too much can harm us. We've developed protections, clothing, sunscreen, shelter, but many humans simply enjoy being in the sunlight." Casfall was silent for a long moment, watching the picnickers with newfound fascination. "Dr. Grayson," he finally said, "I believe we must study this phenomenon in greater detail. The implications for understanding cross-species environmental adaptation are significant." "What did you have in mind?" "I wish to observe humans in their natural recreational settings, where this radiation exposure is deliberately sought out." Olivia smiled. "I think that can be arranged. How do you feel about a trip to the beach?" The Geneva Embassy's conference room had been adjusted to accommodate both species comfortably. Humans sat on one side of the large oak table while the three Xanthari representatives sat opposite them, their environmental suits humming softly. Light filters covered the windows, creating a purplish glow throughout the room. Ambassador William Porter cleared his throat as he reviewed the notes from the morning's scientific briefing. "So let me understand this correctly," he said, addressing Valnera, the Xanthari cultural attaché. Your people have never developed activities around direct sunlight exposure. Velnera's translation device converted her clicks and whistles into smooth English. Correct, Ambassador. Our homeworld orbits a binary star system, but both stars emit significantly less radiation than your sun. We have always viewed direct stellar radiation exposure as a severe health hazard. Dr. Olivia Grayson leaned forward. Yet you've developed spaceflight and visited many worlds. Surely you've encountered other species that tolerate sunlight. We have, replied Casval, but none that deliberately seek it out for pleasure. Most life forms we have encountered either avoid direct radiation or have developed extensive biological shielding. Porter tapped his pen thoughtfully against the table. Perhaps you benefit from witnessing how humans interact with sunlight in a more natural setting. Would your delegation be interested in attending a beach gathering this weekend? It's a common recreational activity. The three aliens turned toward each other, their facial ridges pulsing with a blue glow that Olivia had learned indicated both anxiety and curiosity. They communicated briefly in their native language before turning back to the humans. We would, Casval finally replied. Our protective suits will shield us from harm. This could provide valuable insights into human resilience. Excellent, said Porter. We'll arrange everything. After the meeting, Olivia joined her colleague Dr. Sam Turner in the hallway. Sam had recently joined the xenobiology team after years studying human adaptations to extreme environments. A beach party with aliens, Sam said with a grin. Not how I imagined my career going when I was in grad school. Olivia smiled. Science is full of surprises. Did you get a chance to review their physiological data? I did. It's fascinating. Their cells have almost no natural repair mechanisms for radiation damage. Even a few minutes of our sunlight would cause irreversible harm without protection, which makes their interest in space exploration all the more impressive. Olivia noted. Their entire civilization developed with a completely different relationship to their stars than we have. Sam nodded. And now they're going to watch us splash around and sunbathe like it's nothing. The following day, Olivia met with Velnera to discuss the details of the beach excursion. The Zinthuri cultural attaché seemed both nervous and excited. We have studied your beaches through your media, Velnera said. The concept is still difficult to comprehend. Open areas specifically designed for exposure to radiation. They're not designed for that purpose, Olivia explained. Beaches are just where land meets large bodies of water. We enjoy them for many reasons: swimming, playing games, relaxing. Under lethal radiation conditions, Velnera added. Well, not lethal for us, Olivia said with a smile. Though we do use protection. She placed a bottle of sunscreen on the table. This lotion blocks some of the harmful radiation. Velnera picked up the bottle with her three-fingered hand, examining it closely. Fascinating. A chemical shield. Yet it only blocks some radiation. Enough to prevent most damage, but we still get the benefits of sunlight, warmth, vitamin D production, and yes, the psychological benefits we discussed. The alien set down the bottle carefully. Our scientists are most eager to monitor these effects. We have prepared special sensing equipment to measure human biological responses during this recreational radiation exposure. Just try not to make the other beachgoers feel like laboratory specimens, Olivia suggested. This is supposed to be fun. Fun, repeated Velnera, the word sounding strange through her translator. Yes, we have studied this concept. Voluntary activities that serve no immediate survival purpose but generate positive neurological responses. Olivia couldn't help laughing. That's technically correct, but missing the spirit of it. Maybe you'll understand better when you see it in action. I look forward to the observation opportunity, said Velnera. Perhaps we will learn why your species finds joy in conditions that would mean death for ours. The morning of the beach trip arrived with perfect weather. The small private beach along Lake Geneva had been secured for the diplomatic party, with minimal security visible to keep the atmosphere relaxed. The air was warm, and thin clouds occasionally drifted across the bright blue sky. Jason Miller, a marine biologist who had joined the diplomatic science team, arrived early to help set up a comfortable observation area for the Xanthari visitors. He arranged several large umbrellas and shade structures, positioning monitoring equipment where the aliens could easily access it. "All set?" asked Olivia as she approached, carrying a cooler filled with drinks and snacks. "I think so," Jason replied. "I set up their equipment according to Casval's specifications. The shade covers should block 98% of UV radiation in their seating area." Olivia glanced around. "Good. We want them comfortable, but still able to observe everything." The diplomatic buses arrived an hour later. The human staff poured out first: scientists, diplomats, and support personnel, many already dressed in swimwear and carrying beach bags. The three Xanthari emerged last, their environmental suits modified for the occasion with enhanced cooling systems and additional sensors. "Welcome to the beach," Olivia said, greeting them with a smile. Casval's large eyes scanned the shoreline. "The radiation levels here are even higher than at the embassy gardens. Your sun reflects off the water surface, increasing exposure." "Yes," Jason explained, stepping forward. "That's why humans are especially careful about sun protection at beaches. Let me show you to your observation area." As the aliens settled into their shaded section, the humans began to spread out across the sand. Some laid out towels and applied sunscreen. Others set up small tents or umbrellas. A group of younger staff members immediately headed for the water, splashing in and swimming. "The readings are extraordinary," Casval said, examining data on a holographic display projected from his suit. "The ultraviolet radiation levels would cause severe cellular damage to our species within minutes." "Yet look at their behavior," added Velnera, observing a woman who had removed her cover-up and was spreading a towel on the sand. "They are deliberately maximizing exposure area." Nearby, Lisa Chen, one of the diplomatic aides, had settled on a towel with a book. She wore sunglasses and had applied sunscreen, but otherwise seemed completely at ease, lying directly under the sun's rays. "Is she in danger?" asked the third Xanthari, a medical specialist named Tevzor. "Not at all," said Jason. "She's protected by the sunscreen, and humans can tolerate moderate sun exposure without harm. In fact, many find it pleasant." Tevzor adjusted something on his suit. "Our sensors indicate her skin temperature is rising, yet her vital signs show no distress. Instead, her neural patterns suggest a relaxation response." "Exactly," Olivia confirmed. "Sunlight triggers various physiological responses in humans: vitamin D production, serotonin release, and general mood elevation." The Xanthari watched in silence as more humans arrived and began their beach activities. Children built sandcastles near the shoreline while their parents watched from beach chairs. Several people played a volleyball game, moving energetically despite the heat and sun exposure. But they seemed to be enjoying it. Velnera questioned, her head tilted in puzzlement. Olivia nodded. "Sunlight triggers vitamin D production in our skin. In moderation, it's actually healthy for us." "And the water immersion?" asked Casval, gesturing toward the swimmers. "Is that also for pleasure?" "Swimming is both recreational and excellent exercise," Jason explained. "The water provides cooling, but yes, it's primarily for enjoyment." After an hour of observation, Casval activated a series of additional sensors on his suit. "With your permission, Dr. Grayson, I would like to take more detailed readings of the human biological responses. Our preliminary data shows fascinating adaptations." "Of course," Olivia agreed. "What specifically are you looking for?" "We've detected unusual biochemical reactions occurring in human tissues exposed to solar radiation, compounds our species cannot produce naturally. If you wouldn't mind, we'd like to study these reactions more closely." As Casval prepared his equipment, Olivia noticed how the other beach visitors occasionally glanced curiously at the aliens, but quickly returned to their activities. For the humans, it was just another day at the beach, albeit one shared with visitors from another world. For the Xanthari, It was a window into what they considered an extraordinary act of biological resilience, relaxing under a radiation source that would kill them within minutes. The beach day progressed with the Xanthari scientists growing increasingly fascinated by their observations. By mid-afternoon, the sun was at its peak, and the beach had filled with diplomatic staff enjoying their rare day of relaxation. Some played games in the water, while others dozed under umbrellas or on towels spread across the warm sand. Kaz Hall had set up a small portable laboratory within the shaded observation area. The alien scientist had collected various samples: water droplets from swimmers, tiny skin cells from willing volunteers, even sand that had been in contact with human bodies. Each sample went through a series of tests using equipment far more advanced than anything in Earth's laboratories. As Jason returned from a swim, Kaz Hall motioned him over with an excited gesture that sent ripples through the alien's silvery blue skin. "Dr. Miller, your body's reaction to the solar immersion is most remarkable," the alien said, pointing to a holographic display showing complex molecular structures. "Would you consent to a simple scan? It is completely non-invasive." "Sure," Jason agreed, still dripping from the lake. "What have you found that's so interesting?" Casval passed a small device over Jason's arm, careful not to leave the safety of the shade structure. The device hummed softly and projected another set of molecular images. "Extraordinary," the alien murmured. "The readings confirm our earlier findings." By now, Olivia had noticed the commotion and joined them, curious about Casval's excitement. "What's going on?" she asked. Casval turned to her, the facets of his large eyes catching the light in a way that suggested intense focus. "We've detected a biological reaction occurring in humans exposed to your sun," he said. "Your bodies produce chemical compounds in response to the radiation, compounds remarkably similar to substances we synthesize for medical treatments on our world." Jason leaned forward to examine the display. "You mean endorphins? Serotonin?" "Those, yes, but also several others we haven't cataloged yet," Casval continued. "Your species has evolved not just to survive solar radiation, but to utilize it beneficially." Velnera joined them, her environmental suit making soft whirring sounds as its cooling system worked against the afternoon heat. "Our medical database suggests these compounds could have significant applications," she said. "On our homeworld, we artificially produce similar substances to treat various degenerative conditions." "So you're saying that chemicals our bodies make naturally when we're in the sun are like medicines for your people?" Olivia asked. "Precisely," Tebzor confirmed, joining the group. "What is a natural process for you requires complex synthesis for us. The implications are significant." Jason glanced at the swimmers and sunbathers spread across the beach. None of them have any idea they're producing valuable compounds just by enjoying a day at the beach. Casval made a series of clicking sounds that his translator didn't convert, apparently an expression too complex or emotional for the device to interpret. "This could revolutionize our medical science," Velnera finally said. "Our people suffer from various deficiencies that these compounds might address. Would you be willing to establish a formal research program?" Tebzor asked. "With proper ethical guidelines, of course." Olivia nodded slowly, the implications becoming clear. "I think that could be arranged. It would need approval from both our governments, but the potential benefits seem substantial." Ambassador Porter, who had been enjoying a sandwich nearby, overheard the conversation and joined the group. "What exactly have you discovered?" he asked. As Casval explained their findings, Porter's expression shifted from curiosity to excitement. "So what you're saying is that humans doing something as simple as sunbathing might help develop treatments for Xanthari diseases." "That is a simplified explanation, but essentially correct," Casval confirmed. Porter smiled broadly. "In all our projections about what we might offer an advanced alien civilization, I don't think anyone suggested our natural reaction to sunshine. This could be the foundation for a truly beneficial exchange." The aliens and humans looked out at the beach scene, so ordinary to Earth dwellers, so extraordinary to the visitors. What had begun as a simple cultural exchange had unexpectedly revealed a biological connection between their worlds that no one could have predicted. The breakthrough at the beach led to weeks of collaborative research. The Xanthari and human scientists established a joint laboratory in the Geneva Embassy, where they studied the effects of filtered sunlight on various biological samples. The work progressed quickly, with both sides eager to understand the implications of their discovery. One cool Tuesday afternoon, Ambassador Porter and Dr. Olivia Grayson arrived at the embassy for a scheduled meeting with the Xanthari delegation. As they passed through security, they noticed an unusual level of activity among the alien staff. "Something seems off," Porter whispered to Olivia as they walked down the hallway toward the conference room. When they entered, they found all three senior Xanthari representatives waiting for them. The aliens' postures were rigid, and their skin coloration had shifted to a deeper blue, a sign of agitation that human diplomats had learned to recognize. "Ambassador, Dr. Grayson," Casval said, his translator creating a sharper tone than usual. "We must discuss an urgent matter of concern." Porter and Olivia had exchanged glances before taking their seats. "Of course," Porter replied. "What's happened?" Velnera activated a display screen on the wall. It showed footage from what appeared to be a public beach, much larger and more crowded than their controlled diplomatic excursion had been. Hundreds of humans lay on towels under the bright sun, many with deeply tanned skin. "We have been monitoring your information networks to better understand human behavior," Velnera explained. "We believe humans are conducting dangerous radiation endurance rituals. These individuals have deliberately altered their skin pigmentation through prolonged radiation exposure." Olivia stifled a laugh, but quickly composed herself when she saw the genuine concern in the aliens' postures. "They're just getting tans," she explained gently. "It's considered attractive in many human cultures." "Tan," repeated Tevzor. The word seemed to confuse the translation system. "A darkening of the skin caused by increased melanin production," Olivia clarified. "It's our body's natural response to sun exposure. Some people deliberately spend time in the sun to develop this darker coloration." Ambassador Porter added, "Though we do warn against excessive exposure. Skin cancer is a risk when people tan too much or too often." The aliens' translation devices struggled with the concept. Their multifaceted eyes blinked rapidly as they processed this information. "You intentionally irradiate yourselves for aesthetic purposes?" Velnera asked incredulously, "despite known health risks." "Well, when you put it that way, it does sound strange," Porter admitted. "But yes, many humans consider tanned skin attractive. It's a cultural preference in some societies." Casdal's breathing slits pulsed rapidly. "We have observed other concerning behaviors as well." He changed the display to show advertisements for tanning salons. "These facilities appear to offer accelerated radiation exposure services." Olivia nodded. "Those are tanning beds. They use artificial UV light to create a tan without needing to be outdoors." "Artificial radiation chambers," Tevzor said, his translator failing to hide his alarm. "For beauty enhancement. It's not something all humans approve of," Olivia explained. "Health organizations warn against their use. But yes, some people use them." The Xanthari delegation conferred briefly in their native language, their skin colors shifting through several shades of blue and purple. "This presents an ethical difficulty," Velnera finally said. "Our research has confirmed that the beneficial compounds we seek are produced during human sun exposure. However, we cannot encourage practices that might increase health risks for your species." Porter leaned forward. "I appreciate your concern, but I think there's a misunderstanding. We're not suggesting that humans should increase their sun exposure for your benefit. The research would simply make use of natural processes that already occur." Besides, Olivia added, "moderate sun exposure has benefits for humans when done properly. The key is finding the balance." Casdal's color slowly returned to a more neutral blue. "Balance. Yes, this is a concept we understand. On our world, We must carefully balance resource usage against environmental impact. Exactly, Porter said. And this could be an opportunity to help both our species. Your radiation filtering technology could be adapted to create better protection for humans, while we could help develop the compounds your people need. The tension in the room gradually eased as the aliens processed this new perspective. What had begun as alarm over perceived dangerous human practices was evolving into a deeper understanding of cultural differences and potential collaboration. Perhaps, suggested Tebzor, we should establish clearer parameters for our research, ones that respect the health requirements of both species. An excellent idea, Porter agreed. After all, that's what diplomatic relations are all about. 6 months after first contact, the United Nations approved an unprecedented scientific exchange program. After weeks of careful planning and preparation, 5 human scientists would travel to the Xanthuri homeworld, while 3 Xanthuri researchers would continue their studies on Earth. The goal was to deepen understanding of both species' relationship with stellar radiation and develop beneficial technologies for both worlds. Dr. Frank Davidson stood in his apartment, staring at the half-packed suitcase on his bed. As one of Earth's leading dermatologists, his selection for the mission made perfect sense, but the reality of traveling to an alien planet still felt surreal. "I can't believe we're doing this," he said to Olivia, who had come to help him prepare for the journey. Traveling to an alien world to teach them about sunbathing. Olivia smiled as she handed him a specialized light meter designed by the Xanthuri. "It's more complex than that. The biochemical processes triggered by solar radiation could help them treat several conditions prevalent in their population. Plus, their radiation-blocking technology could significantly improve our sun protection methods." Frank carefully packed the meter alongside his research equipment. "Do you think their planet will be as strange to us as Earth is to them?" "Probably stranger," Olivia replied. "They've described it as having perpetual twilight by our standards. Their binary suns produce mainly red and orange light, and the air contains compounds that would be toxic to us. Hence the environmental suits they've designed for us," Frank said, glancing at the sleek silver case in the corner that contained his custom-fitted suit. "At least we won't have to worry about sunburn." While the human scientists prepared for their journey, the Xanthuri researchers on Earth had begun carefully controlled experiments. In a specialized laboratory in California, Kaz Hall had initiated a bold new phase of research: personal exposure to filtered sunlight. "The shield is currently blocking 99.7% of ultraviolet radiation," explained Dr. Lisa Young, the human supervisor overseeing the experiment. "We'll maintain this exposure level for only 5 minutes. Casthal stood nervously in a small chamber where a single beam of heavily filtered sunlight shone through a special window. For the first time since arriving on Earth, a small section of his arm was exposed outside his protective suit. "Beginning cellular monitoring," said another scientist, watching the readings on a display screen. "Vital signs stable." The Xanthuri scientist remained perfectly still as the light touched his silvery blue skin. After exactly 5 minutes, the window shield closed, and Lisa rushed forward with scanning equipment. "How do you feel?" she asked. "A sensation of warmth," Casfeld replied. "Not unpleasant, but intense. There is a slight tingling in the exposed area." The scans showed minor cellular changes, but nothing dangerous. The experiment was deemed a success, the first controlled exposure of a Xanthuri to Earth's sunlight. 2 days later, aboard a specialized transport ship in orbit, the 5 human scientists prepared for their journey to the Xanthuri homeworld. The ship's design reflected the advanced technology of their hosts, sleek, efficient, and unlike anything humans had created. "Final environmental suit check complete," announced the Xanthuri flight coordinator. Hibernation chambers prepared for the journey. Dr. Frank Davidson took one last look at Earth through the view screen. The beautiful blue planet shone brightly, sunlight reflecting off the oceans and clouds. "It looks so different from up here," he said to Dr. Maria Alvarez, a biochemist on the team. "So bright and radiant." "That's what makes it home," she replied. And what makes it so different from where we're going? The ship's engines hummed to life as the final preparations were completed. The human scientists would spend most of the 3-week journey in hibernation, awakening only as they approached the Xanthari homeworld, a planet where the concept of sunbathing didn't exist, and where Earth's natural sunlight would be considered a deadly hazard. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Velnera stood at the window of the Geneva embassy, watching human children play in a park under the afternoon sun. They ran and laughed, completely unaware of the radiation washing over them. Radiation that would kill her kind within minutes without protection. Remarkable, she whispered to herself, that something so dangerous to us could be so essential to them. Perhaps that is the true lesson of this exchange, that survival takes many forms across the stars. 1 year after the Xanthari arrived on Earth, a special ceremony took place on the same Florida beach where they had first observed humans relaxing under lethal stellar radiation. The day was warm and sunny, perfect for the occasion that would mark a new chapter in relations between the two species. A large tent had been set up near the water, with open sides allowing the sea breeze to flow through. Inside, human and Xanthari officials gathered around a display of new technologies, the fruits of their year-long collaboration. Most striking was the group of Xanthari visitors themselves. Their environmental suits had changed dramatically. While still providing essential life support, they now featured specially designed transparent sections that allowed controlled amounts of filtered sunlight to reach their skin. Casval stepped forward to address the gathered diplomats, scientists, and media representatives. His voice came through the translator with a tone of unmistakable enthusiasm. "Our preliminary treatments have shown remarkable results," he announced. "Adapted human compounds produced in response to solar radiation have reduced genetic degradation in our population by 42%. The crowd applauded as Casval gestured toward a display showing before and after cellular images. Ambassador Porter smiled as he took the podium next. "And the radiation filtering technology developed by our Xanthari friends has already decreased skin cancer rates in test groups by 37%. The new sunscreens based on their compounds will be available to the public next month." Dr. Frank Davidson, recently returned from his 6-month stay on the Xanthari homeworld, stood nearby with a look of satisfaction. His skin was notably pale after months on a planet with minimal ultraviolet light. The experience had changed him in many ways, but his most significant contribution had been helping the Xanthari scientists understand the complex relationship between humans and sunlight. "We never imagined that our casual relationship with our sun would become our most valuable diplomatic offering," he whispered to Olivia, who stood beside him. Outside the tent, on the beach itself, life continued as normal. Families played in the sand, swimmers splashed in the waves, and sunbathers relaxed on colorful towels. They were completely unaware that their ordinary weekend activities had inspired interstellar medical breakthroughs. A small Xanthari research team moved carefully along the shoreline, their new suits allowing them to experience Earth's environment more directly than ever before. They still couldn't expose themselves to full sunlight, but the improved protection meant they could observe human beach behavior up close. "They seemed so at ease," remarked Velnera, watching a child build a sandcastle while sunshine poured down on his bare shoulders. "What for us requires years of technological development, they do naturally from birth." Olivia nodded. "And yet your visual adaptation to low light lets you see stars we can only detect with powerful telescopes. Each species has its strengths." The success of the exchange program had led to expansion in other areas. Xanthari atmospheric filtering technology was being adapted to help clean Earth's polluted cities. Human agricultural methods were being modified for use in the Xanthari's low-light environment. What had begun as a simple observation about sunbathing had blossomed into a comprehensive knowledge exchange. As the formal ceremony concluded, Hal approached Olivia with a small gift, a pendant containing a tiny vial of silvery liquid. "This contains compounds from my homeworld that absorb and store light energy," he explained. "When you return to darker environments, It will release a soft glow similar to our binary suns. Olivia accepted the gift with a smile. Thank you. It will remind me that even when our differences seem greatest, we can find common ground. In the distance, a new group of beachgoers spread their towels on the sand, applying sunscreen and settling in for an afternoon of relaxation. The Xanthari scientists watched with continued fascination as humans voluntarily bathed in radiation that would kill the aliens within minutes. Perhaps the most valuable lesson, said Casval, his large eyes reflecting the sunlit water, is that adaptation takes many forms. What is deadly to one species gives life to another. In understanding this, we learn not just about biology, but about the true nature of cooperation. Olivia watched a child splash joyfully in the gentle waves while the Xanthari researcher recorded the interaction of water, sunlight, and human biology. The universe had proven stranger and more wonderful than either species had imagined, a place where danger and delight often depended entirely on perspective, and where something as simple as a day at the beach could build bridges between worlds.